Yes, we are live. Hello, everyone, and
Oh,
welcome to the show. And as everyone can see, I have the wonderful Lena Rodriguez here, giving her great expertise and passion and incisive insight, as always. So, as you guys know, when Aussies and Brits get together, it can actually be quite rambunctious. Yeah, so this is a bit
it
of
can.
Aussie pom going on. I would be the pom because once upon a time, what is it? Wasn't it? People used to eat citrus fruits on boats, wasn't it? To prevent
Limes, so they
limes,
didn't
to
get
prevent
scurvy.
scurvy. So there we are. So as usual, we will be bringing in our just our viewpoint. So there's going to be a bit more spice in the show, as you would expect, and as you've
Oh,
come
oh,
to
oh.
enjoy. And we've discussed some questions which we'll be getting stuck in with.
Good.
And
I just think my screen looks a bit dark. I'll just put another light on.
all right,
Oh,
another light on. Yeah, I've got my ring light, and it's very gloomy over here, Lena.
it's gloomy here. This is the middle of summer and I'm still in a polar neck.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Now, you guys should be kind of Scorpio at this time of year, shouldn't you? You should be nice and hot, should be very, very warm.
It should
And
be gin and ice,
yeah.
And what have we got? I'm one step away from gloves,
Oh, wow.
It's
Wow.
ridiculous.
What would the temperature normally be? I mean, we would say like 25 degrees is considered like a warm day in the UK. So,
Yeah,
which
well,
is,
we have 30 to 35 in summer routinely,
wow.
and we're now on about 19. Where I am,
Wow.
where I am, there's up north, it's always hot.
My
But it's
goodness.
weird. It's certainly weird.
That is strange. That is strange because
Mm.
UK people always the famous thing is Aussies and barbecues. Now, of course, there's
Yeah.
lockdowns and various different kind of stuff which we may address at the end. But still, the weather should at least be complying. So it seems like the sun is sort of on a bit of lockdown as well.
Yeah, totally. And the weird thing is, of course, any of the English or Irish who come over love to have Christmas Day on the beach, which is an Australian tradition. Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, it involves getting hideously drunk. And so people pass out on the beach and they get radical sunburn because they've got no idea what sleeping drunk for 6 hours on hot sand leads to. It's not pretty. It's not pretty.
It becomes lobsters on the beach. I think
Lobsters.
My goodness. Well, okay. Well, without further ado, because as everyone knowing, watching us knows, Lena and I love a bit of a tangent, so we have factored that in. We're going to try and address 5 questions, and they're quite dynamic and interesting ones,
Yeah,
which I think
yeah.
you
Hope
guys
you
will
like them.
like. And let me quickly grab for my tarot cards as well. So first question number 1. So, what does the future hold for Chris Cuomo?
Yeah.
Ooh,
He's blown his sort of golden halo right through the ceiling, hasn't he?
very interesting. And one thing you might find interesting to know, Lena. So when Lady G and I were doing Hadaigo's tarot. I was also talking about the eclipses because we've just had a solar eclipse on the 4th of December. And 2 weeks previous was the lunar eclipse. And I said that would be all about female leadership, things to do with the Queen. And what happened? Barbados
Yeah.
basically removed the Queen as
Yeah.
the head, and they've now got female president, female prime minister, and Rihanna was announced as hero of Barbados. Wow, yeah, female power. The sun, it deals with all leaders. It tends to deal with male power in particular, but it can be women as well. But I found it very interesting, and I said we're going to find revelations coming up about male leaders. And in that show, that's when someone in the comments broke the news that Cuomo had been fired from CNN. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
Yes. Well, I had a chuckle to myself, I have to say, but I haven't read on it. So let's have a look.
You're so naughty. There are many, just so people watching, those that are Chris Cuomo fans, you know, we're just asking about his future, but you got to remember this is a little bit more spicy, you know. Aussies and Brits are a bit more needles.
Ah, yes, sports and all here. Yeah.
And while you're shuffling, who do we have? We've got Sharon Saipi. Thanks so much for joining us. Bluebird, Cat Mama Meow. Love that
Mama
one.
Meow. Sandra's here.
Yes, people are coming in. And we understand it's early for you guys. So for anyone who's joining us at this time, we're like, wow, fantastic. Especially in the States. Okay, what's the future for Chris Cuomo? Chris Cuomo. What's the future for Chris Cuomo? Because I think it's quite interesting. I can't remember if it was in a show with yourself, Lena, or if I was collaborating with someone else, but actually it may have been a solo show, and I was looking at Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was looking at Andrew's chart, and then I looked at the brother. Yeah, Mars was representing the brother. And I said, this could be very troublesome for Chris Cuomo down the line. I think it could make some problems for him down the line. And it's come true.
Yes. Okay, oh, see, this is the thing, isn't it? They all think they're above everything, and they get careless. And
yeah, it's just really unfortunate. I can really understand the family aspect, wanting to help his brother. I can totally understand that. However, and obviously CNN didn't want to effectively sack one of their most popular.
Oh yeah, he's very popular.
Do you know what I mean? So they really had to have had a good reason, and they went through the legal avenues. I just think it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Yes.
All right. So what do you have? Would you like to go first? You are the guest, of course.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm using my Geopolitics deck, which are very gorgeous.
Ooh.
Something different. He's at war. It'll take me 10 minutes to get used to this. Right. He's at war, and the guns are going for him because it started off, the problem was his defense of his brother, but then I think he's got his very own sexual harassment case that he's got to own. Yeah.
Really?
So it's a double whammy. So he's in the wars, right?
Wow.
The Hermit. So he's hermiting, not surprisingly, you know, licking his wounds over Christmas. Broken heart, because I think he thought it would never come to that. And he is a media baby. You know, this is his oxygen, his everything. So I think he's truly devastated. But this is, in the traditional decks, the Six of Cups, nostalgia. In this deck, it's this mysterious hand coming through the wall with the flowers, right? So I think he'll be made offers. He gets then the Ace of Wands, which is energy and renewal, but it's going to be a bit of a false dawn. So in other words, as he's kicking back over Christmas, he's got enough money in the bank. He's probably paid off the house. He's thinking, oh, well, I can do this and I can do that. And look, people are ringing me. But here's the thing. He still has a problem. I pulled two of my little clarifiers for him a bit further out, you know, a few months out. He gets disgrace. Disgracia will follow him, and I think it's the sexual stuff more than the brother stuff. Everyone gets the brother stuff, right? At the same time, you shouldn't do it, and they're both grown-ups in the public sphere, and they could have done it more cleverly or more sneakily or thing, but they didn't. But it's the other stuff that's going to be problematic for him. Then he will get a consolation prize down the track. but it won't be, of course, as high prestige. It's a consolation prize. This is what can you net, you know.
Fascinating, because as you can imagine, I'm in the UK, and but also as well, you know already that with my channel, because I try to have also an international focus as well. I look at a very broad range of news, and our next story is going to be an international story. So
Yeah.
I've been obviously, you know, I watch all the channels and stuff, so I've heard about this, but I didn't know that there was. So I thought it was just in connection with the brother. You're saying that there
No,
might actually
I
be
think there's a
his own.
sexual harassment charge. Can our very onto it viewers let us know
Yeah, if anyone
if
knows
there's
anything
any
a bit
mileage
more,
in that?
yeah, if you could give us a bit more insight on that, that would be
Mm.
great. Okay, so
What
what do
else?
I have now? My cards, in many ways, are really in a way quite obvious about what's going on with him. So the first
Mhm.
card I get, of course, here we are, Nine of Wands.
Yeah,
He's
totally.
being embattled. Yeah, just like what you got. This is someone who is a shrewd and canny survivor. So he's very much he's in survival mode right now. He's like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, the house is falling down. What am I going to do? This is someone who's coming through battle, but they are shrewd. They tend to be a survivor. The obstacle, obviously, is look.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
feeling victimized. He's feeling entrapped. He's feeling like he can't move forward. But as we know with this card, they say the blindfold is loose. The bonds are quite loose, and sometimes this can be a situation of one's own making. So
Mhm.
even though he now, for obvious, like for familial reasons as well, he wanted to help out his brother. We know famously Italian families like to bond together, but this has gotten him into a bind as well, hasn't it?
Yes.
And what is it about? It's about messages. It's about
Mm.
messages, isn't it? So look, here we are. This is text messages, emails, and stuff like that. The Page of Wands is a page of education and speaking,
Mm.
communication. But this is
Yes.
also what's kind of got him into this trouble, hasn't it? It's been
Exactly. And Deborah has just pointed out, yes, he's accused of sexual misconduct.
oh
So he could have
really?
sent some other emails that aren't that salubrious either.
Yeah, because I understand
Mm.
they're going through the text messages. So pages are always about messages, and
Mm.
this page, of course, it's about communication in particular. So it's quite interesting. That should come up, shouldn't it?
Mm.
Next card. He is juggling stuff. Yeah, I know his cards are quite. Ooh, he's really juggling hard. He's trying to balance stuff out. He's trying to right the ship. I mean, we can
Yeah.
basically take it as is, you know,
And he's on the choppy waters
he's on
there,
the
you know.
choppy waters, trying to get that balance himself, trying to sort it out. And this can also speak as well of maybe manipulation is too strong a word, but he's really paddling. Yeah, the
Yeah.
swan is paddling. And what is it in regards to? It's to do with what? Family. Yeah, family and money. Do you know what I mean? This is about institutions, isn't it? Legacies.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's the right way up, this is the only card that's got all family members on there. So this is also about what? The Cuomo family, the Cuomo brand, you could also say. But
Mm.
now it's reversed because of course Andrew has had his challenges, has had to retire. Now, of course, Chris is in trouble. So I think this is really affecting sort of like the whole family in the way. And this could also be in reference to maybe to CNN, which of course is a big institution. And
Mm-hmm.
he's now fallen foul of that institution because the 10 of Pentacles also talks about corporate institutions, you know,
Yeah.
big ventures. And
Yes.
he's no longer the poster boy. So I think it's quite tricky. I think maybe yours is a bit more optimistic than mine, but I think he's having a
Well,
lot.
only eventually a false dawn. He'll think
Yeah.
he's got something and he hasn't. Carol has pointed out in the chat, she's noticing that anyone who gave Trump a hard time is having strange things happen to them. For example, the Cuomos and Alex Baldwin. Could this be revenge? Should we just have a quick look at that?
Let's have a quick pull on that. Very well observed. And we've got here, so Lucky McLucky, like 4:10 a.m. in NYC, and you have joined us. Honestly.
Oh, I'm impressed.
You get a big kiss for that. I mean, that's commitment, isn't it, Lena?
Yeah, I reckon.
You know, listening into an irreverent, an irreverent and Brit and Aussie.
Letting fly.
Letting fly.
So are these things connected with Trump or not? He might just be sitting back enjoying them. But let's see, is there a connection?
Wow, great question. Is there a connection?
Yeah, is there a connection?
Is there a connection here for this misfortune with Trump? That is a great question.
Oh.
Oh. Let's see. Is this misfortune around Trump's critics connected with him? You're getting interesting stuff already, yeah?
Absolutely.
Is this stuff connected with Trump? Oh, is this stuff here, is it connected with Trump? All right, let's have a little look. And, ooh. Well, I've got some quite interesting cards here.
What have you got? You go.
Oh, okay, I'll go. And what I'll do is, just for Chris Cuomo, now you may or may not know, Lena, I have a new little oracle deck, which is called Messages from Dog. Yeah, Messages from Dog.
So sweet.
It's this sweet, zany card pack made by... it's Donna E. McDonald, and it's quite light-hearted actually. And it's quite light-hearted, but they can be very entertaining. And I just want to quickly pull one card just to see what Messages from Dog are for Chris. Let me just see here, see what it says. Oh, look at this. It says here. Oh, let me just get that right.
Yeah.
Sit and wait.
And it shall be revealed.
Yeah, you'll know when to make your next move. How interesting. So that's Messages from Dog from Chris Cuomo, for Chris Cuomo anyway. So, okay, would you like me to go? Yeah?
Yeah, you go.
So in regards to the question, misfortune happening to people who have criticized Trump, and is there an involvement there? So what I have here is the Queen of Pentacles. Now, as we know, the Queen of Pentacles, now she's a Pentacles card. She deals with money. She deals with security, safety, isn't she? She's keeping a very close eye on that coin. Now, if we think of this in the context of Trump, in many ways, Trump keeps almost like, I would suggest he would almost have a pocketbook of his enemies that he would like to
He does. Yeah.
And he watches that very clearly. He's like, oh, this person said something, that person said something, this senator said this senator said that, because the Queen of Pentacles is very much a sign of a card of storage, isn't she? She deals with holding the vessel, keeping everything together.
Yes.
And of course it deals with finance, but it can also be any kind of assets. I think Trump sees those that cross him as these kind of assets, these people that he can kind of attack to kind of further his position. And what is that about? Because he wants to defeat his enemies so that he can have a sense of what? Victory. Forgive me for the... It's quite early for me as well. I normally do my stuff.
It's still croaky.
Croaky voice here. So what does Trump like to do? He wants to get what? Victory over his enemies.
Yes.
So this is coming as the crossing card, but it's not so much a crossing card for Trump. It's more those that oppose him.
Yes.
Yeah, all those that oppose him. He always wants to win. What's fueled this? Delusional, yeah? It's delusional kind of stuff.
Yeah.
However, when the Seven of Cups is reversed, it can mean a clarity as well. It can mean also a clarification of sort of ideas. So I think Trump has it very clear in his mind who he wants to get victory over, if that makes sense. Yeah. He likes to move what? Forward, strongly and passionately against his enemies. So I would say he's prepared to employ whatever kind of tactics come to him. This is a card of force and will, isn't it, Lena? Going forward dramatically in a dynamic kind of way. And then you see here as well, we've got messages again. This is Pentacles. Obviously, Pentacles, money is always associated with
I
Trump.
got the same card.
Oh, look at that. So here we are. And remember as well, Pentacles, they're all about messages. But this one, when it's reversed, it appears as if the coin is falling out of the person's hand. So he's also interested in financially scuppering his opponents as well. He wants them to what? Lose money.
Yes, because that's his idea of hell.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what he wants them in hell. Yes, because he has no other values to call on. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what I've got.
Yeah, what did you get? I'm fascinated.
Well, it kicked off with the devil. Straight up, first card, the devil. All right.
Voila.
The devil trying to expose what is going on, right? Barely a fig leaf to be seen and enjoying that. This is my Page of Pentacles. So someone given the message and finance, go and get the dirt. Wow. This is the Jester of Gardens in this deck. It's literally get the dirt on these people and slay them for me. Thank you. Look at that.
I mean, that doesn't leave much to the imagination, does it, that card? Wow.
No. And because I'm drawing clarifiers tonight with my little deck, what did I get? Sneaky conversations.
Yeah.
Couldn't be clearer, could it? I hadn't even thought of that. So thank you, Carol, for pointing that out.
That was a brilliant question. Yeah, that wasn't on my radar at all. But I think that both our cards were quite emphatic on that one, wasn't it?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So are you ready for the next question or anything else to add on? All right, no problem. So question number 2. Okay, now you guys, you know we like to go, Lena and I, we like to go a bit internationale, don't we?
Yes, the world is ours.
Now, this is actually closer to your neck of the woods, Lena, and what I wanted to talk about is Japan. Now, Japan has said it wants to become the world's first hydrogen economy. And how are they planning to do this? And one of the things that they're actually talking about is something called blue coal. And you guys are probably thinking, what is that? And what they're proposing to do is potentially burn or carbon capture either hydrogen or ammonia. Because apparently it doesn't produce CO2. However, there's a caveat here.
Yeah.
Now, everyone remembers the Fukushima explosion, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Fukushima. Since that time, Japan, quite understandably, has become very gun-shy about nuclear power stations, and a lot of them have not come back online. So what have they done, Lena? They have now put online, have commissioned 22 new coal-burning electricity plants. Yeah. And where are they getting that coal from?
As someone said, Australians are really good at digging holes in the ground.
So what they're trying to do is, because I was reading the article, I was thinking, oh, this is really interesting. And then what they're basically saying is, we want to burn coal and we're going to try and capture that extra CO2 or whatever,
Mm.
and then store it underground, and then that becomes blue coal,
Yeah,
apparently.
right.
So I just wanted to ask the cards, what's the energy around this economic concept that Japan has, which seems
Yeah,
to be
because it
a bit
sounds
more.
expensive, and I'm thinking hydrogen, I'm thinking ammonia. I'm not getting good associations with when you produce these things in huge quantities, but it could be just me. Let's ask
Right.
the card.
Indeed. One thing that was interesting, though, in the article, they were talking about hydrocells, which is where you can basically power a car with a hydrogen, and it's a combination of hydrogen and water creates electricity and then drives the car. So that is quite a good thing. But
Here's the
let's,
thing. We're going back to the steam age.
yes, yeah,
Right? Shoveling coal in those trains to produce steam to make the wheels go round. We're going back 150 years.
yeah, yeah, because that's
Oh,
really what it's all
geez.
about. Steam. That's what it's how to create
Yeah,
steam.
yeah.
So you would think there must be other ways to create that steam, surely.
Well, there are. They
Wow.
could go thermal or wind, or, they've got massive winds. They can do hydrothermal stuff. But anyway,
Absolutely.
we're reading on blue coal.
Blue coal. I know, blue coal. Okay, what's going on?
Interesting concept.
For Japan and their economy. What is, because they're saying when Japan made this decision like 10 years ago, renewables were much more expensive then, but now everyone knows renewables are now becoming
That's
cheaper
right.
than
I
gold.
think they've been left behind here.
Yeah, it seems. So they were talking to an activist who was like, I cannot believe that we're doing this.
Yeah.
When we've got so many, because I mean, they've got so much natural power. I would think they would be perfect for wind in Japan.
Absolutely.
Geothermal, wind.
And we've got hydroelectric here, and they've got bigger lakes and dams and mountains, like.
Absolutely. They've actually got the geography for it. So it is very interesting. Oh, ooh. Oh dear.
I know. Mine's a bit of an idea too. Shall I lead off this time?
Yeah, you want to lead on this one?
Well, out of 4 cards, fire, fire, fire. So like energy stuff. So it leads off. Aren't these cards beautiful? This is the Queen of Fire. This is the behind the scenes. How can we do this thing? How can we get this energy? This was the thinking behind it. And then they got the Stranger of Gardens. Strangers are the equivalent of knights here. So this is the mercenary card in the traditional decks. So it's like a very strange decision, literally. It doesn't make sense. In 1983, this might have been cutting edge. 1993, probably a good idea. But right now, it doesn't work. They're basically fiddling while Japan doesn't get energy. Really. And another stranger than fiction, the Stranger of Fire itself. It's like, this to me is a warning card. This is going, if you're going to use this, you thought it was bad before with Fukushima. That is bad because it hangs around for 400,000 years. But with these ones now, it's like a worse accident short term. You know what I mean? You wouldn't want to be in or near this accident. Fukushima, like Chernobyl and like 3 Mile Island, will be playing out 1,000 generations from now. But this is different, more immediate, hotter. Not a smart move as I see it.
Yeah. Just like Maggie Craigie is saying, clean, blue coal and clean coal.
Yeah, clean coal. Yeah, you just wash it and then it's clean coal. So you use water, precious water, to wash the filthy coal and then call it clean coal. And what do you do with the dirty water? And on it goes.
Is that what clean coal
Yeah,
is?
yeah, it's
Oh my
rubbish. It
goodness.
just
Yeah,
doesn't
hogwash.
burn. It doesn't burn at the same rate as dirty coal, but it's the antithesis of clean. You know, it's just an ad. It's an ad jingle. You know,
Gosh, it's just these people. They're just ridiculous, aren't they? It's
just ridiculous.
Just
So
ridiculous.
what have you got, hun?
So what I've got. So here we are. This is Japan going. Oh dear.
Oh, really?
Oh, not liking any of the options on the table. Yeah? The leaders are just like, oh, gold. We don't like what's in this cup. Oh, the green coal, blue coal, what coal, whatever's coming out the sky. They're like, OMG, this is not working. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
don't like the options that are on the table because, in a way, they may have. Excuse the pun, baked themselves into a situation that they don't really want to be in, because we all know renewables are cheaper. Yeah,
Now they are, and they're the way forward for everybody.
Exactly, the way forward, and they've got a landscape that just is full of dynamics. When you've got a very dynamic landscape, you can actually produce a lot of power. When you've got a lot of mountains and waterfalls and stuff, gravity, hydrothermal, all of that stuff. So
everything.
Exactly, they've got everything. So they're really in a tizwas. They're like, oh my goodness.
Oh, I haven't heard tizwas for a while. I'm loving it. People stare at me blankly.
Oh, really? Really? Oh, tizwas. I think it's a great word, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great word. Tizwas.
They're in the tizwas. Oh, and thank you, Christopher, for your donation. So if we look here, so this has come in the obstacle position. Now, I don't think this is Biden in this case. It's not Biden, because this is part of sort of like geopolitics in that sense.
Right.
I do think, though, this is about the leadership. And I think what's happened here is now this card is known as someone empathic, isn't it? Quite gentle and creative, but it's quite a gentle card when it's in the upright position. But some people are saying that essentially Japan, let me just turn down my light a little bit because it does seem to be a little bit bright just on the cards. There we are. There we are.
Yeah, that's good.
But could it be that Japan is maybe being too softly, yeah, and maybe not being decisive enough about what they need to do, because they're being emotional about it? Because there is one of those things in Japan, which is that if you make a deal, you're supposed to honor it come hell or high water.
Yes.
Yeah? But what if you make a deal 10, 15 years ago, that it no longer suits you? And then you're like, well, we know we need to change, but they are very hesitant. So this could be that maybe they're being a little bit too passive in regards to what they need to do, because they said, Japan, we all need to get our numbers down. What is it that they fear? They fear that. If they wean themselves off the coal, or if they go in a different direction, they're worried about the contracts, the money. Yeah. Because we know that this is the poverty card where you feel shunned by the outside world, let in. When the card's upside down, you really are worried about money. It's almost like a money crisis is on your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
They also worry probably as well about international regulation.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they're worried that, oh God, we've got all these coal plants that are on the way. We might get a little bit of slap face on this.
Yeah.
And they'll be quite right to worry as well.
Well, they should be worried.
They should well be worried, because if we've just had this COP26, I think, COP26, where we've agreed to reduce coal. Japan has basically done that, but yet they've got 22 coal-powered stations in the pipeline.
Craziness. It's absolute craziness. It could be, I'm wondering, with that leadership, we'll have to keep an eye on this issue, because it could lead to a change of leadership. It is so mind-bendingly stupid that people might actually react.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's really bad.
It really is. So there was this. They were talking to a young activist, and one of his complaints was, he was like, "Why are we, the Japanese people?" He said, "We're too passive." He said, "People are rioting, and protesting around the world, but wasn't it interesting that that King of Cups came in the obstacle position? Maybe they're too passive, being too passive, but everyone can let us know their thoughts. And again, this isn't against, the Japanese people. We're talking about geopolitics and reading that energy, aren't we? Okay. Anything to add to that before we move on to the next question?
No.
All right.
Let's go.
So we're going back now to the USA, but circuitously, because it is about China. Yeah. Who's not been out of the news and probably won't be out of the news for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
So Joe Biden has approved a diplomatic boycott of China's Beijing Winter Olympics. And we can give a bit of context on that. So how would this impact USA-China relations in the future? So Lena, you've got opinions on this, haven't you?
Yeah. It's the thing with China is it's not smart to tackle China head on.
No.
That much I think we could all take to the bank, right? Yeah. You've got to come up with something really smart and something that allows them to shift their behavior a bit without being seen to cave in or whatever. Yeah. Right. So this is bull in a china shop. And I must say, don't hate me, viewers, because everyone loves Biden. It's his advisors. He's got this old school attitude of standing up to China. And I think it's a very clumsy move. And I'm actually a bit twitchy about even reading on it, actually. They might think it's bad for China, but look, it used to be if America sneezes, the world got a cold. But you know what? We don't want China to get the sniffles because really.
Right. Fascinating. Now, for me, guys, this is a first. I have yet to see on the show Lena be gun shy about any kind of shuffle. So she's
really, I know. Well, because we're here, we're the first port of call. If they get the screaming irrits with anybody, it's going to be us first.
Yes.
So I'm invested. And I think China is running on 2 tracks now. It's got some very successful, fabulous, innovative stuff going on. And it's got everything else. Now, if the world says, I'm old enough to have remembered the boycotts on South Africa about apartheid, right? And at the end of the day, after all the protests everywhere and everything, it was the sports boycotts that really brought the end to apartheid.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because they couldn't bear the Springboks not being part of world rugby. It undermined their whole identity, and it was a brilliant and brave thing to do. It was a risk for the world, and it was the right time and the right thing to do. Right? And it worked. It wouldn't have worked without 40 years of people giving their life and their blood and their everything to it, but it was the final paving stone, right? Now, and one of the first things Nelson Mandela did, he put on the captain's jumper of the Springbok. That was a moment that the rest of the world sort of went, oh, well, what's he wearing a football jersey for? It was huge. It was huge in the context of South Africa, right?
Wow.
But it's now 40 years later. I think we should be doing something about the missing Chinese tennis player for sure. But it's that pointing fingers. Australia does not have a good human rights record. We invented pushing the boats back out, right? Sure. They can come back hard on us. The UK has, a lengthy legacy. I mean, let's divide India, shall we? That'll make it. That's a splendid idea. We'll just put a line through the middle of India.
I mean, the UK. I mean, like we said. I mean, the UK is one of the crucibles of original sin when
absolutely.
think of like the playbook of divide and rule, really, that we all know that was very much something that the Brits took to another level. And I'm
Everywhere, all over the Middle East. They invented Iraq. Well, let's get a puppet regime and we'll get someone to draw some lines and it'll be this new country called Iraq. Splendid idea. Right, so, and America's neck deep in controversial human rights horrors on a daily basis. So that's where I'm coming from. That's my point.
So let's see then. What will be? So how would this impact USA and China relations in the future?
Okay,
very interesting.
All right.
How will this impact China America relations in the future? Because you know what, Lena, you're absolutely right. Both economies are so interconnected now as well. We need to also understand China's bought so much of America's debt. China's is rising as a power. America wants to maintain its position. Do you know, it's very tumultuous, isn't it? Oh goodness.
Yeah, I think. Oh, Christ.
I mean, there's more twists and turns in this than an episode of Neighbours, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't even know half these cards were in this deck.
Oh,
these are highly visual, let's say.
Wow. Okay, so what I'll do is, do you want me to go on this one?
You go first.
Enjoy what you've pulled up, because it seems like you've got some interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, so I'm intrigued. What have you got?
Oh, all right. I mean, this makes sense. It makes absolute sense. All right. So how will this impact USA-China relations in the future? There we are. The happy home and the bright vision. Upside down. So basically, China is not gonna smile fondly on this.
No more smiling.
Indeed, because if there's one thing as well, and it's so interesting as well, what you said with the South Africa and Springboks, etc. China is excellent at sports, as we know. Excellent. So we don't want this just to be like a Debbie Downer on China. This is not China bashing. We're talking about, of course, the geopolitics, because after all, it's the political elites that make these decisions.
Yes, it's never the people of the country we are talking about in any context, good, bad, or ugly.
Exactly. So just so you guys are sure, and likewise as well for America as well, because a lot of you will be very proud viewers, and a lot of you are obviously big defenders of Biden and stuff. And again, this isn't Biden bashing. We're talking about the dynamics, what's actually playing out. And the Olympics are incredibly important to China, and anything that could be seen to be threatening that is a big deal. And just so you know, Lena, the WTA has pulled all of its tennis tournaments from China because of the situation around Feng Shui. So this is going to feel like another slap in the face. So that potential happy relationship is like, because this would be the family, you know, everything wishes fulfilled. But you've also said as well, sometimes this can also be a bit of the facade of the happy family as well, isn't it? And now it's really clear it's not a happy family situation. What is it about? You know, you understand? Look at that. It is about, you know, China's money, wealth, power, and influence that is increasing in the world. But also as well, there is an element of control with this card as well. There is a lot of there can be a lot of shadow with this card, and it has turned up in the obstacle position. So this is, I think, a part of the conundrum that the Biden administration has. How do they form that future relationship with China?
Yes, I don't think they've thought about it.
They've got to really think and come up with something, because China is a very disciplined nation overall.
Better believe it.
And that's what's going on in the West. I mean, you would have seen with Boris Johnson talking about Peppa Pig. Yeah, did you? You must have been belly laughing when you saw that.
We were. It did turn up on my phone a few times in different contexts and led to many jokes.
Absolutely. Sorry, what were you going to say
No,
something?
go.
Okay. So here, what we have here is the Knight of Wands. Now, the Knight of Wands, we all know wands are about passion. They're about fire. They're about charging ahead. However, there can be an element of impulsiveness to this card. Maybe not always thinking something through and charging ahead. So has this been the right choice of the Biden administration in regards to dealing with China? Could this prove to be a bit impulsive? Maybe it needed to be something more subtle, like you
Yes.
said.
Like
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Anything would have been better than this.
Because this, unfortunately, it's not a subtle card. This card is not known for its subtlety. It's about rushing forward with energy and with passion. So we'll have to see what the comeback is, and the comeback could be this:
Oh.
the Hanged Man,
Mm.
because maybe China might pull a few levers here. Because when it's this way up, he's contemplating things, he's reflecting things. It's a new perspective. When it's this way up, it's like, oh God, oops.
Yeah.
I'm a bit stuck here, not quite sure what to do. And then look, as the outcome card, this really is, I know, I think this is China's response. China is like, yeah, well, wait till you see until we've got a bit of this up our sleeve. So in terms of the outcome, I think that may have jabbed the hornet's nest there. But what do you have?
Well, it's gobsmacking to me. Now, the signifier, the main card, this is the Stranger of Winds, who is a very strange character. Look at this. You know,
Very
like the world being a boiling pot. I mean, really weird imagery. So for me, this as the signifier, this is a really weird, literally weird, over the top suggestion.
Yeah.
Right. So for example, they could support world tennis in pulling tournaments from China. They could have done that. That would have really helped their cause. It could have made the statement. But you're going global with this. Second card, this is the Drowned.
Oh,
so this is
man. Oh man.
This is, you know, if you were looking for self-preservation for the states, this could be up there with one of the 5 most stupid, provocative, unnecessary, delirious, aggressive things they've come up with in a generation. I can't tell you how strongly I feel about this.
Really? Wow. Yeah. You
Yeah.
have strong feelings about that, Lena.
It's not good, because to shame them, humiliate them in front of the world, where can they go? The problem with this is, what can they do to make it right in time for that sporting event? They can't make it right.
True.
So, and I'll tell you what I think they'll be doing in a little while. So they're deciding now how they're going to react. This is the decision making. And look at that volcanic sort of cloud over there.
Tumultuous.
It's sort of ninja warrior outfit to mix Japan and China. Sorry, people. But it's like, really? You're going to do this to us? Well, you better expect a reaction.
Oh, yeah.
That might come in the form of the Ten. It's like a deluge. It's like fire and brimstone deluge stuff, right? Like, they are so furious. They are so upset. They're so aggravated. You want a war? Let's go.
Oh, man.
You want to be the tough guys? We'll see who's the last man standing, right? I don't think it'll necessarily get there. I think that's the talk behind the scenes. This is the outcome of this emotion. This is what they're talking about now in the men's clubs and things. We'll just go hard, you know. I don't think it'll come to a literal war, but it could come to an economic war. Wow. And like you said, China owns vast amounts of America's debt, toxic debt. And if it decides to flush it away, big trouble.
Yeah. Wow. Now this is really interesting because messages from dog when I pulled
Oh, what did you get from dog?
this, it says speak up. Yeah. It says speak up. It's time to break the silence and reveal the truth. But for which side?
Side. And I think diplomatic China, because China's very successfully got its huge economic power globally.
Oh yeah, very much.
I think diplomatically, they can start a word war first, which is listing the litany of things that America has done, everything from the embargo on Cuba to slavery to, everywhere and back, right?
Mm.
So it could be like that. They could speak up, which is probably better than going into armed conflict. But in the bigger picture, reassured viewers, I don't see a future armed conflict in terms of Western nations.
Yeah, me neither. But it could very much be because that eclipse that just happened was very close to the fixed star Antares in sidereal Scorpio, and Antares is the star of war. That's what it's known as. So we could see the rhetoric heat
Yes,
up,
the
particularly
war rhetoric, absolutely.
Yeah. So particularly, so we could be having people speaking up, but it could be that saber rattling kind of stuff, folks. So tricky times, isn't it, Lena? I mean, what
Isn't
time
it?
we are living through. It's very much, especially as we're talking about China, the Chinese proverb, wasn't it? May you live through interesting times. And my goodness, we are there, aren't we? We are
We're
there.
so there. And we know so little about Asia generally.
Yeah.
Because of colonial language distribution and stuff. So Asia understands the West much better than the West understands Asia.
Absolutely. And we are always from the outside looking in, aren't we? So again, we're not, we don't want this to be and seem anti-China, which is not, and we don't want it to seem anti-US, which is not either. But we're just looking at the context, the dynamics in which these conversations happen, because they're important. Context is everything. All right. So as we see, look at that. The time has whizzed so far already. So I think we've got time for one question. I was going to drop one in, which is about Viagra. But I think we'll save that for Saturday's show because everyone.
Sure, that will be hilarious on Saturday.
We'll say that for Saturday.
I'm intrigued.
Because Lena will be a guest on Heidegger's Tarot this Saturday. We're so looking forward to it. So we'll address the Viagra question then. And because I really wanted to squeeze in this one, which I think is really important. So we're going back to the USA again, and this is about Devin Nunes, who has announced that he is leaving his position as chair of the Intelligence Committee.
That was funny before it even finished that sentence.
No comment from me. I know. So he's leaving that, and I was watching again the USA News response, and one of the casters was speculating, saying, "Well, look, why is he giving up such a powerful position? And he could have even more power if he stays on." Because they're saying that, the GOP may win. What is it? Win back the Senate or something like that, and. He's leaving to become CEO of Trump's new media company.
Oh, no. Empire, titan of industry, and you're working for Duck L'Orange.
Duck L'Orange, and guess what? As you know, Duck L'Orange doesn't hesitate on anything, likes to go quick. It's already being investigated.
Yes. Where did the $1 billion come from?
Where did the $1 billion come from? So I just thought we had to end on that one and just be like, wow.
It's hilarious.
Wow.
And of course, when it doesn't go anywhere, it'll be Nunes's fault. So I hope he's ready.
Yeah, I hope he's ready, because otherwise he could get a bit of the Trump curse as well, you know. Because
He could get the Trump curse, which has become a real thing we've established. Oh dear.
So what's his future in that enterprise? That's what I wanted to ask. What's his future? I mean, do we even need to pull? But anyway,
I've got to stop laughing long enough to shuffle. Just
what's Devin Nunes? What's his future in that enterprise? And I must say, you know, Trump is he is a resourceful person. Let me tell you, when you've got your moon in Scorpio, in that part of Scorpio, it's to the death. It's to the death. And he somehow managed to raise $1 billion. My God. Extraordinary, really. All right. So
Devin
Nunes.
Devin Nunes in charge of
Trump's new media company, which is already being investigated. I just find it extraordinary that Trump is just given so many options. Do you know what I mean? I just find it utterly incredible. But he does have certain things in his charts that help.
Yes, and astrologers do say that. Talk about the Teflon guy. There will be an end. Your luck runs out eventually, but he has been so lucky. Some people think he's smart. He's not smart. He's lucky.
Yeah.
And as my old Irish dad used to say, it's better to be lucky than rich. And
wow.
Yeah, he's always had luck. So let's look at Devin Nunes in there.
All right. So I've got my cards. So while you're shuffling, I'll let you close the show.
Okay. So you tell us what you've got.
So look, if we look here. So out of my 5 cards, 4 are reversed. Yeah. 4 out of 5. So look, Devin Nunes, wants to go into this almost wanting to be like the hostess with the mostest. Yeah. You know, because when the car's the right way up, you're affluent, you're financially secure, you don't have to worry about anything. She's just thinking about what she's going to have for supper and what kind of wine. When it's this can also mean what? Corruption. A bit of corruption, a bit of licentiousness. It can also represent, dodgy money. Where's that money coming from? So I know already he's in this situation. He's moved in thinking he's having this, and he's moving into a situation where that $1 billion is already being investigated. So there's that. Look what comes next as the obstacle. Something's rushing forward. So this card, when it's rushing forward, this could be almost like the thirst for truth, going ahead, but it's also a very impulsive card as well. This can be vicious. This can be vindictive.
Yes.
So here, corruption, vicious and vindictive. Next card that comes up. Look at that. He's going to be holding on to his coins. I would say, Devin Nunes, you're in for a bit of a whirlwind, my friend. You're in for a bit of a whirlwind. Because I think, of course, he thinks he's going to be financially secure.
Yeah, he thinks it's going to be cool.
He's like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to be doing great. But look, back again. Card upside down. It's not the family ideals that he's thinking that he is. I think he thinks being head of this new media company, he's going to be able to spread this almost evangelical message. But no, I think it's pie in the sky. So we'll have to see. Not looking good for him.
Yeah. And I don't know how far this enterprise is going to go. My first 2 cards, the Hierophant. Looking at the money. So the courts looking at where this money came from.
Wow, where did it come
they
from?
blew it. They came up with too much money too quickly. Right? They could have
few million would be like, okay, we can believe that.
Right. So I've got $1 billion. So Devin Nunes, he hasn't got a hope because he's failed. He's a slow learner, like so many of them. He's been around long enough to see Trump gobble people down and spit out the bones. And it's the ego of these guys. It's going to be different for me. No, it's not, Pet.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, it's not, Pet. So he's going to be the false knight telling the Yeti, it's all right, yes, yeah, things are happening, yeah, that'll be happening, all this stuff that I don't think is even going to be happening.
Wow.
And it'll have fanfare and all of that, but like a Trojan horse, I'm going to say this is a Trojan horse. And he's going to keep having to come up with plans, I think, on a daily basis, just to hose down Duck L'Orange. And then I drew a little clarifier from the other deck, thinking, well, what's the vibe down the track for Devin Nunes? Prison.
Oh, dear. Oh, gosh.
I'm just saying.
My goodness.
I am simply a vehicle. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes.
It's going to be the worst thing that Devin Nunes has done for himself. For himself.
Indeed. But
now, before we go, I just have to report from the chat here that there is talk that the sexual harassment charge may have been made up. So in fairness, until we hear or see any more, but one USA reader said it was a trumped up charge. Interesting language in terms of what we got. So he could have set that in train as part of his destabilization campaign.
Wow.
So in fairness to Chris Cuomo, we're rolling with that for now. Yeah, we'll just see what transpires with that.
And for entertainment purposes only, of course.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
of course, again, we're two readers, and we're exchanging ideas, bouncing backwards and forwards. And the messages from Dog for Devin Nunes is quite funny.
Oh, yes, please. Woof,
so
woof.
Messages from Dogs is, strut your stuff.
And he will.
Yeah, strut your stuff. No one else can do it like you. And could that mean crash and burn like you as well? So I think this is how he's feeling. Yeah, he's like, I'm
going to make millions. I'm going to make millions. He's putty in my hands. No one else can control him. I can control him.
Exactly. Because that's what he's doing. He's like, strutting my stuff. We've got $1 billion in the bank already.
Throwing away a government job and going to work for Trump.
Exactly. So I think there's some irony in these cards as well.
Deep.
So for me, I just think that is so funny.
I think that is a treasure.
Indeed. Well, as always, Lena, the time has whizzed by. We've just gone over an hour. Thank you, everyone, for getting in touch with us. I mean, we could just carry on, but of course, we are going to see you again this Saturday coming as our special guest on Hodiga. And also, as well, I just want to give a little shout out to Diane as well. And I would just say, Diane, send me a WhatsApp. I've not heard from you yet. I'm not too worried yet, but please send me a WhatsApp.
And I'm sending congratulations.
Exactly, as well. Congratulations to on a new engagement and stuff like that. But we can talk more about that on Saturday. Thanks everyone for joining us. It was a pleasure. It was a hoot as always. There's never enough time for
never enough.
Until next time, folks. We'll see you on Saturday. All right. Cheers. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Thanks for coming.